Extra is taking over BBC Radio 1.
12 hours of big tunes.
Big mixes and big DJs.
BBC Radio 1 Extra on BBC Radio 1.
Extra R&B.
Extra hip-hop.
Extra dancehall.
Extra UKG.
Extra D&B.
And everything in between. Tonight from 3.
The 1 Extra mixtape with Shawnee B.
From 5.
Raz Kwame.
BBC Radio 1 Extra on BBC Radio 1. Showtime.
Now.
Grooverider.
On BBC Radio 1 and 1 Extra.
Many thanks to Mr. Jam. Once again, a superlative show right here on Radio 1 and Radio 1 Extra. It's now time for Rider Radio.
Rider Radio on BBC Radio 1 and BBC Radio 1 Extra.
Sounds, the most Hertz you make you jump up hurdle sound selection.
Saturday night
on BBC 1 Extra and Radio 1.
Grooverider on BBC Radio 1 Extra and BBC Radio 1.
Grooverider on Radio 1 and 1 Extra. It's Fabio, Grooverider, the biggest drum and bass radio show in the world on BBC Radio 1 Extra and BBC Radio 1.
What's going on? You already know this is Drake. You rocking with the illest tag team, Fabio and Grooverider.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of the Drum and Bass Show, aka Rider Radio, with yours truly, Mr. Grooverider. Back once again for another week of what happened last week? We got crashed last week. It was the what was last week anyway? Radio 1 Extras. What do you call it? What would you call that?
BBC Radio 1 Extra Live.
Yeah, that's it. So that was you know what? I'm screwing that we weren't on last week, because last week my mum tried to tune in. Right? She stayed up till 1 o'clock. No, I'll tell you why, because she rang me during the week and said, you know what, are you on Radio 1 no more? I said, what do you mean? I tried to tune in last week. I thought you tried to tune in. You're normally in bed by 9:30.
How does your mum know you're not on the radio?
Because she tried to tune in and she didn't hear me. So I was kind of raging about that, because that is a total one-off. We must have been here for 12, 13 years or something, and it's the first time she's ever actually tried to tune in, because the online thing is not my mum, all right? Let's get it straight. So, we're back. The show's still on. Just in case you're getting it twisted, myself and Fabio are still here. Last week was a one-off for the Radio 1 Extra live at Wembley, to which I actually went as well. Even though our seats weren't the greatest, and I didn't bring any binoculars, so I couldn't see anything. But it was a great event, hosted by Trevor and, what's that other chick's name?
The lovely Gemma.
Gemma. I don't know if I should say this. Wasn't sure about the outfit. Wasn't sure. Maybe I'm getting a bit old.
You are, definitely.
Nah, you weren't feeling it either. I just saw your face. I saw your face. Stop lying. Your face tells everything. Anyway, let's play some music before I get myself into more trouble. Jenna G with Sigma. Track's called Baltimore.
Drake, and right now you listening to none other than Grooverider.
Thank you. Sigma with Jenna G, track's called Baltimore. One of the summer anthems within the drum and bass community, if you didn't know already. Just locked on, it's Rider Radio here on Radio 1. Just kicking off the show. Where's my menu? I didn't even read out a menu or anything. Oh, okay, let's see here. Right, so tonight, we have 2 hours of the finest drum and bass right here. We also have the legendary Mickey Finn. coming in to talk about himself, hopefully, and talk about the projects that he's involved in. And that guy is involved with many, many projects, trust me. He's also going to be going into the mix. Lindsay's, read some of the tracks that he's going to be featured in his mix, and it's sounding big. I'll also be doing the rewind tracks with Fabio. That's when we go head to head and draw out the biggest tune of the week.
I can't get my mind right, and you won't be my lifeline.
And we show respect to this beat because it's sick. Track's called Save My Life. Wickaman and Majik together once again.
BBC Radio 1 Extra takes over BBC Radio 1.
Sometimes I forget my lines in this place. Too far away from me, everywhere I go, try not to cross the line, but my mind puts signs and search straight out the window. And even though I believe in what I do, blinded by the lies, I breathe the lies as if they're true. Cause I can't get my mind right, and you won't be my lifeline. And you won't be my lifeline. Sometimes I forget my lines in this place. Even though they know my life, I've never been so alone. It's killing me to save my life. To me than you, revolve my life around, control and bring me down. Time by the second, cause every second's ever closer. And I've never been the one to run, but I can't redo what I've undone. And I can't get my mind right, and you won't be my lifeline. And you won't be my lifeline. Sometimes I forget my lines in this place. Get my lines in this hole, even though they know my life. I've never been so alone. It's killing me to save my life. And I've been on this road before. This time I have to close the door. It's killing me to save my life. Get my mind right, and you won't be my lifeline. And you won't be my lifeline. Sometimes I forget my lines in this hole, even though they know my life. I've never been so alone. It's killing me to save my life. And I've been on this road before. This time I have to close the door. Get my lines in this place. And I can't get my mind right, and you won't be my lifeline. And you won't be my lifeline. Sometimes I forget my lines in this hole, even though they know my life. I've never been so alone.
Love it. Track's called Save My Life. And what you need to understand about Rider and vocal tracks, I can't play the wishy-washy I love you baby tracks. It's not really me. I'm gonna play tracks that I would have written. Tracks I'd wish I'd written, pretty much, like lyrically. Tracks that make sense. And that was just another one of them. Majik, Wickaman track called Save My Life. So we got Mickey Finn waiting in the wings. So we're going to draw him in quite soon. We're going to throw down a couple more tunes. An album to be released later on in the year is from Artificial Intelligence. We've been running crazy tracks from that album, such as, well, I can't even remember. What tracks have I been running, Lindsay? You should know. Tell me one Artificial Intelligence track I've been playing.
I've probably been here for about 4 weeks.
Stop. Oh, yeah. What's that about then? Oh, yeah. All of a sudden you were ill. I remember that. You weeked out, didn't you, that week? 4 weeks, Linz.
And then I was on holiday. I was very ill.
You and James are going to have to come round for a fresher course because you're a bit late on the beats now. So much has changed in 4 weeks. Anyway, a track from the Artificial Intelligence LP. I think the album's called Moments of Truth. This is yet another killer track from them. The track's called High Tide.
It's Rider Radio on BBC One Extra and BBC Radio 1.
To BBC Radio 1 Extra and BBC Radio 1. Strap yourselves in and hold on to your hats. It's Rider Radio.
Too much bass for one station. Grooverider on BBC Radio 1 Extra and BBC Radio 1.
thinking of a new thing to do on the show. Seeing as the Come Dancing is starting soon, let's do something called Goldie Watch. What do you reckon, Lynn? Is that going to work?
Definitely.
A little 5-minute thing every week on Goldie and how he's getting on in that thing on Come Dancing. What do you reckon?
Are you Team Goldie then?
I'm not team anybody else because I don't even know who else is in it.
Fair enough.
It's all about Goldie. See him in the paper the other day with that. Gotta be honest with you, that woman that he's with is quite fit. Am I allowed to say that? Yeah.
Yeah, they're all very lovely looking.
Hey, it's part of the Radio 1. All our Radio 1 people, all our BBC people are fit. Hey, what do you reckon? All the girls are fit. BBC. It's part of the BBC, innit? Standard. But yeah, what's her name? Do you know? Any chance of getting the digits?
I will find it out.
Okay. So yeah, I see him in the paper in his gold shirt, looking real good. Never seen Goldie wear a shirt, I've got to be honest with you. When does that kick off? Did that kick off tonight?
Saturday.
Next week, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to try and get him in like during the week because he does a little thing during the week at the Bikram Yoga Centre, which is really close by. And he's been talking about coming in and, giving us updates. So let's make that happen.
He's with Christina Ryanov. I think she's Russian.
Yeah, she's hot. Older chick. Oh, that's wrong, isn't it? She's a hot chick, don't get me wrong. I play this for my man Goldie and wish him all the best in the competition. And I want the UK's drum and bass contingent to get right behind that man. An outfit called Mutated forms out of Estonia. The track's called Crawlin.
The Dons of Drum and Bass on BBC Radio 1 Extra and BBC Radio 1.
Saturday nights on BBC Radio 1 Extra and BBC Radio 1.
Radio 1.
It's BBC Radio 1 Extra, taking over BBC Radio 1. Move out the way.
A man currently residing in Leicester, working for Leicester's biggest record label, Formation Records. Goes by the name of Rollz. The track's called Soul Calibur. So we're just easing into the show tonight. We're not banging yet. But there's going to be a load of bangers to come through because we've got Mickey Finn in the house. And I've got to stand up when Mickey's here, you know? I've got to bring out the best. So, where have we been since I've last come to the show? We've done some beats in Ibiza. That's pretty good. Well, no, it was really good. I was there for a few days. But we're going to talk more about that when Mickey's in. Also, we have been doing the Students Thresher Week over the last couple of weeks. I thought it was a week, but it's obviously like more than that, right? It's been confusing.
Too much bass for one station. Grooverider on BBC Radio 1 Extra and BBC Radio 1.
Yo, 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 who wants to reload? Yo, DJ, rewind that. Rewind that. Rewind that. Rewind that.
Do this properly.
Rewind that. Rewind that. Rewind that.
So we've been to the Tuesday Club up in Sheffield last Tuesday. Oh man, I love that place. Big sound.
Every Tuesday when I was
tunes.
a student.
Sorry?
I used to go there every Tuesday when I was a student. You could be sell out.
Yeah, I didn't know you was up there, like, doing your thing up there, Linz. Question is, did you actually do any work? Did you pass anything?
I passed.
No, did you pass?
Yeah, I did pass.
Okay, good. Now look into my eyes and say that.
I passed it. I passed.
That's good, Linz. It's a good look. Here's Callide.
Drake, and right now you listening to none other than Grooverider.
Grooverider on Radio 1 and 1 Extra. One station, Fabio and Grooverider on Radio 1 and 1 Extra. Rah!
This track is absolutely dangerous. Big track rider.
I don't care what anybody wants to say. That track's mental. Callide and Supreme forthcoming on Ram. Push that one up to Andy C, also Red One. All the Ram crew who like to roll it out down at Fabric. I think they do it down there monthly now. Sick. Now I've been hearing Andy draw that one out on me time after time after time, and finally he's going well. Glad to have it in the box. So we're going to do one more track, drawing the man Mickey Finn. See what he's got to say, and let's listen to him in the mix.
All right, let's get started. You may learn something.
My personal favourite at the moment, track's called Shaolin Still. I believe this is the hottest thing on the drum and bass dance floor at the moment. Sending this one out to the mighty Jumping Jack Frost. Also to everybody at Propaganda Records, Jaden, Original Sin, Taxman.
See what you mean.
The boy is back. Rider, run it.
Bring that back. That's a big tune right there.
Let's get started. You may learn something.
Too powerful, too cruel, too tough.
Strap yourselves in and hold on to your hats. It's Rider Radio.
I will see what you're made of.
Radio 1 and 1 Extra.
It's too powerful, too cruel, too tough.
I will see what you're made of.
Yo, Grooverider, BBC Radio 1 Extra and BBC Radio 1. Oh yeah.
Supreme Being Shaolin still forthcoming on Propaganda, I think. So we've just how long we've been doing the show for now?
45 minutes in.
Okay. Gonna have to program this right because we still got Mickey Finn to bring in. He's actually sitting in the studio, you know. He's here with me. And we're gonna do some drum step tonight. We haven't done that for a couple of weeks. Got a few new killers to play. A couple more bangers. You know, we've got a lot to fill in tonight. Might need an extra half hour, Linz. Can you make that happen? Can you make that work for me, Linz?
No.
Melody, can you make this work?
No.
God, bloody. See what I have to deal with here, Mickey. I've got nobody that can help me here. Right, we're going to talk to you straight after this. This is a new outfit called Tyke, forthcoming on Grid.
You are listening to BBC Radio 1 Extra and BBC Radio 1. It's 2 for the price of 1.
Desires of the damned.
Track entitled Desire of the Damned, forthcoming on Grid. Twisted Individuals imprint label. And the outfit's named Tyke. Remember that, Tyke. So we have the world-renowned DJ, producer, promoter. I still got to ask you if you still got the record shop.
No.
What else? Label manager. Oh my God, you got so many strings to your bow.
Chip shop owner.
You also have a DJ agency. Gosh, Mickey, you're involved, man. You're involved.
I love it. You know, I love it, and
Really?
it was more about me giving something back for to a scene that gave me something back when I was a kid. So it's never been about let me start open an agency. I want to make loads of money. It's just more about giving something back and babies that turned into monsters. Yeah.
I would say like how long you been in the game, but I'll be giving myself away if I said that. So I'm not going to ask you that question, right? But
I don't mind that.
I find you saying, right? So we've known each other a very, very long time, like over X amount of years. But you know, from the day I've
Double
known
figures.
you, yeah, man. You know, you started off like me. You know, we met back in the days of biology.
Yeah.
You know, playing the beginnings of house music before anybody.
I was actually thinking about that the other day. I can go back to you borrowing your mum's car. Yep, I can go back to getting lifts to places. So neither of us had cars, and we just, you know, we just loved it. Clubs would close at 8 in the morning, and me and Groove would be carrying on in the decks until 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
We'd be on the phone trying to look for the parties at the phone box because mobiles weren't really the thing then. Lindsay, you hear that? Mobiles weren't about then. Not really.
Yeah, you had to meet at petrol garages and...
you had a brick or a pager. Yeah. Right? I mean, we had to meet at the parties for these, like, you know, we never knew the venues, and we were the DJs, and we never knew where we had to go. We just followed the crowd. And, you know, back then, found the
parties starting at 6 o'clock in the morning, believe it or not.
That's right. And then, you know...
But it was, you know, it was great fun, and I was actually talking to someone about this the other day, where I don't think... There's a certain amount of people out there that didn't enjoy that magical mystery tour because it was exciting, you know. It did used to obviously get on people's nerves, but I thought it was quite exciting. You know, me and Groove would sometimes, when you're talking about illegal parties back in the day, you're jumping walls. It added to the excitement of that magical mystery. You don't know where you're going and you don't know what to expect, and I just think there's a lot of people that maybe would like to witness that never got to witness it, you know, back in the day.
But now it's business, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what it is, you know.
But you can still try, you know, like what we try to do with IB, we still try to excite people. I don't want to let people get to they sit there and know what they're going to expect, because I just think the excitement can kind of drift away if they know everything they're going to expect. So I just like keeping people on their toes, really, with the promotion side of things.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a second. Like first, let's kick it off with your DJ side of things, man. Like, you know, you've been in the game for a few years. You've gone through a lot of changes, like, you know, like all of us.
Yeah.
Where do you see the music at the moment?
I still do. I still love DJing. I kind of think that drum and bass for a little while kind of lost itself a little bit, and I'm really, really liking what's going on now, you know, again. I just think I don't know, it lost its heart and soul for me. Not totally, but I just think for how big the scene was, for how many pendulums come out of it and how many sub-focuses and chasing status, I don't think there's enough of it. I just think it lost itself a little bit, and I'm really glad that you're starting to hear some really good quality music again now for me.
From all variations.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, you know, you just quoted like names like Pendulum, Sub-Focus and all that. They're the bigger acts. Who are you feeling like as a smaller act? I know you've been doing some work with Sensei and those, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think Heist, Sensei, I mean, you know, you on Majik as well. I think Majistrate's are really underrated, and I've known Majik since he was a young boy coming in the shop, because he's obviously down from near where I live right now in Kent. And I've always rated him as a producer, but I just think now he's really on fire right now.
Oh, he's hot, man. He's hot. He's got, you know, everything that he makes nowadays is dance floor. Do you get what I'm saying? It's big dance floor right now, you know. So yeah, Majistrate definitely. Who else do you think? You know, your little boy's doing a few things. You know, you got the young, you know,
my boy,
Logan D.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really proud of Danny. Danny's kind of really, you know, he's a good kid. He don't get involved in the politics. He's just, you know, he just wants to contribute to the scene as well. But his label's doing excellent. His label's doing unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, I told him you need to get Majik signed up for an album. I was like, come on, Dan, liven up. No, but you know, he's doing really well. He puts on his parties, and his label's doing well. You
must feel really proud.
Yeah,
your son's doing so well.
I'm totally proud of him, considering the background I had growing up. I'm so glad he's done what he's done. I'm really proud of him.
So, like, let's move it on to like your promotion aspect. You know, you've been running AWOL for a while. You're one of the founder members of Innovation in the Sun, and now you're doing this new thing called Sunbeats. How did that all come about?
Like when I went in the studio, Groove, I just kind of thought I weren't really happy back there in 89, 90, thought, you know, if this is the kind of music that's coming out, I want to go in the studio and have a go. I'd not done no studio work and end up doing She's Breaking Up, and I kind of felt a bit the same with parties. I like turning people on. I like people to go out.
Easy. You've got two birds in there, mate.
Yeah. people. No, actually, when they go out to a club, I just feel, you know, this country's been into dance music for over 20 years. I just think people want a bit more. It ain't just about music and lights no more. I just think there's just to try that bit harder, you know.
Yeah.
So with the AWOL thing, obviously AWOL's always going to be about that jungle era, and there is a market out there that wants to go out to jungle that, you know, like maybe can't go out every week. So we do 3 AWOLs a year, 4 maybe. We get an older crowd, anything up until 45, 50-year-olds I've seen in there, you know. But these are people you know are not, they come out maybe 3 or 4 times a year.
Yeah.
So, you know, AWOL's always going to be a big part of my life. I've done it for so long. I think it was quite weird to actually come back around and me and Darren own the licence. But I just...
Yeah, because you would have found the members, you know, Jay put it on and you were, you know, the resident DJs.
Yeah, we just...
Along with Randall, Kenny, Ken.
Yeah.
You know, who else was there? GQ. Why is GQ missing? This from some beats. This is the question we're all asking right now.
Well... me, Gary, Darren. There's nothing wrong with our relationships.
No.
Gary's a busy MC.
Yeah.
He obviously works with Andy all the time, and we all know how busy Andy is. So it's really hard for
link
us.
it all up, yeah.
We try and get Gary every one because we always see him as he is as important as us, as the DJ team at AWOL. Without a shadow of a doubt. You know, he used to do 12-hour sessions, and any time we can get him, we will always have him, but he's a busy person, and sometimes we have to, it's either AWOL can't go on until we can have Gary, or we have to move forward, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, he will definitely be out in IB for next year, without a shadow of a doubt. And we just want to keep it fresh all the time. We've already come home. I'm just such a workaholic. I think I was home for like
where'd you find the time for all this, man?
Groove, come on, you're a machine worse than me. I'm a machine.
I'm nothing like you, man.
I'm a machine that sleeps. You know, I try and lead quite a normal life. I try and get up at 9 in the morning, and I try and lead a normal life. I've got kids, and I just don't want to be unsociable.
Yeah.
He's a machine. You'll speak to him at 10 in the morning, and he's just got up from getting in at 8 2 hours before on his way to the airport.
I can't help it, man. That's the way I roll, man. You know.
No, but again, it gives me a lot of adrenaline.
That's what it is, Mickey. It's the same. It's the passion, man.
Yeah, it gives me a lot of, you know, Ibiza, for instance. I think when everyone went home, when I knew that everyone was on flights, and I knew that all the artists was home, I just collapsed into a heap where I think the adrenaline had wore off. You knew that everyone was off the island safe, and everyone got out all right, and I just went asleep for about 12 hours, I think.
You're making a lot of references towards Ibiza. Break it down and tell people exactly what Some Beats is about and how it came about.
Well, obviously, Groove, me, Fabio, Jack, we've been going out there since, I don't know, Groove maybe even, he has been longer than me. I was from the early 90s, and I'm not a jealous or envious person, and I just always stood there and thought, why have house people got this beautiful place to come in the sun? And not that they shouldn't have, but I wanted somewhere for drum and bass, you know. As soon as the garage scene come along, they got Iron Appa, they got Zante and a few other places, and just sitting here going, we've basically got SE1, Rex, and a few other nice clubs in London and England, and I just got it in my head that drum and bass should have somewhere to go in the sun, and I would love to make it seasonal if we could find a place. It's not just about, you know, let Mickey come up with an idea for a week's holiday. I would love somewhere where we could go seasonal and maybe do it. Someone does it every Saturday, someone does it every Friday, someone, you know, a bit like how house people go. If I want to go on holiday and get into the music that I'm into, it's a no-brainer. They just go to Ibiza. So Ibiza's a beautiful place. I've always loved Ibiza, and I just think that drum and bass community should experience, for me, mostly the best party island in the world, and with some of the most beautiful clubs. The best clubs in the world, without that shadow of a doubt. And you know, we've both been all around the world. Yeah, to pretty much all the best clubs, and nowhere compares. You know. Yeah, and then you've got the setting. You've got the setting that goes with it. I mean, I don't know if it's because I'm getting old, but older. Or I loved it when I was younger. If I go there when I was early 20s, I just think it's a beautiful place.
You're going to go and you're going to do a mix for us. Tell us what's involved in tonight's mix, man. What you got down in there? What are you hiding?
I try to just, I don't know, I don't know if you want to call me I kind of I like to dance, I like party tunes, I like people having a good time, and I kind of think drum and bass got stuck in a bit of a fashionable producer, what plugins you use in world. And I kind of think it can actually do a bit of harm when you've got people that maybe have got minimal production and come out with really good tunes. And I just think the whole fun part and people going to have a good time and producers making tunes for people to have a good time kind of lost itself a bit, and they all got lost in the chin stroking science of technology, you know.
Trying to chase other people. That's
basically, I was having a chat with Fresh the other day, and it's just like you get too many people. Like, I kind of noticed it when Bad Company were huge, where you all of a sudden had 10 people trying to be Bad Company. And I just don't think the scene needs it. You've got one Bad Company, like you've got one Pendulum, and then you had people all trying to be Pendulum.
But that's the same in any genre. Once somebody makes a hit, everybody's going to try and duplicate it. Well, not everybody, but I mean, there's going to be people trying to duplicate that.
I'm totally down with it. But I think there should be more Shepherds and not enough, you know.
What happened to the days of somebody getting a loop and rolling it out?
Yeah.
That's basically it.
Yeah. You know, when it was just, I'm just going to make a tune in my bedroom because I want to make this tune, rather than, what's he doing? What's he doing? What plugins is he using? And I must chase them. And
I've noticed, like, do you think it's changed because there's such a lack of use of, like, old samples? Is that why?
Yeah. I've you know, and I don't think there's a problem with it, but I think when drum and bass went into its originality, I just think a lot of loops, like you just said, samples kind of got took away, and they could be used as hooks, and I just think the longevity of the music kind of got quite short.
Come too electronic, basically.
Unless it was an out-and-out classic, you know, and it just kind of, you know, you just seem to go through tunes really quickly rather than... I don't know, I'm going to say I'm really old now. In the 90s, like 95, 96, 97, I just think you had a lot more classic, I don't know if they was classic samples or a lot more samples that made it hang around longer.
Well, you just hit the nail on the head. Plugins made it easy.
Yeah.
Anybody can make a tune. A few plugins. Before you had to think about what you were using. Yeah. Now plugins are there with preset samples, basically.
And very, you know...
And everybody uses the same ones, basically.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Same presets.
I don't... But then again, you go into we can go into personal thing, but I think that, like you were saying, the plugins, the computer side of it all become very convenient, very easy, and I don't know, maybe that's just my personal opinion. I just think that the music kind of took a bit of a dig for it. Yeah. Rather than good hardware.
Yeah. But you feeling now it's kind of getting back to...
Yeah, I'm loving, you know, I was listening to all the sets out in IB for I just as a circumference of music, I just think there's so many different avenues in drum and bass now, which I think is brilliant.
Yeah, that's what I love about it.
And there's never been no boundaries for drum and bass. If you kind of look at house, there's mostly boundaries on it. It's all about the kick, and, you know, it's very like a generic set of contents, when I've never seen that in drum and bass. There's no boundaries. There's no, you know, no, you can't go. People just go where they want, and I love that about drum and bass.
Yeah. All right, then we're going to break down Mickey Finn in the mix for the next 25-30 minutes. So, you know, hold your hats and hold on tight and to whack up the bass, basically. It's Rider Radio.
It's Rider Radio on BBC One Extra and BBC Radio 1.
Mickey Finn in the mix. Fabio, Grooverider, drum and bass, Radio 1. It's the drum and bass show.
Come out of England, make it feel bigging up the foundation. So from the our sound system you grow up on. Ra, 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 ra. Come make it feel nice up the industry. And film the play the whole and rusty. Watch how we come to lock down the place, trust me. Ra, ra, ra.
Saturday nights on BBC Radio 1 Extra and BBC Radio 1. 2 hours of drum and bass on your radio. It's BBC Radio 1 Extra taking over BBC Radio 1. Move out the way.
Grooverider on BBC Radio 1 and 1 Extra.
Fabio and Grooverider, bringing you drums and bass. I'm a little lost without it, yeah.
The size of this rush. I'm a cop, you idiot. We have to put a barrier between us and the snakes. We're going. Sweep the leg. I'm never coming back to school. Never! Oh, yeah, what's the reload! Fuck! It's not a
and thing. I love what I deal with. So you will tell us now. Listen. If you feel the way me feel, then come on. Nice, we comfy, nice up the lawn. Blow your whistle and blow your fog on. Nice, we comfy, nice up the lawn. Catch your lights on me, I tell you pick one. Nice, we comfy, nice up the lawn. Dash your hand in at the air, brush your arm. Nice, we comfy, nice up the lawn. Come in here because you know how. Nice to talk the night of the land. Me a beg on no people on the yard. Nice to talk the night of the land. When you are listening to that you can't yarn. Nice to talk the night of the land. All the pressure we no love for the yarn. Nice to talk the night of the land.
The Dons of Drum and Bass on BBC Radio 1 Extra and BBC Radio 1.
on BBC One Extra and BBC Radio 1.
Many, many thanks to Mickey Finn in the mix for the last 25 minutes here on Rider Radio on Radio 1 and Radio 1 Extra. Superb stuff, Mickey. You're talking about some of them tracks. Well, break us down some of them tracks you put in there, man.
I mean,
you're going to put the track listing online?
Yeah, no, I'm going to we'll put the track listing online, but I just try to put a bit of everything that maybe I'm about, really, on in a short period of 25 minutes, which is really hard. I mean,
well, to be honest with you, Mick, that's like a normal set nowadays, isn't it?
Yeah. But it's just, you think, I've got to try and show what I'm about within 25 minutes, and you've got to do it quicker than what you'd usually want to do it. But yeah, there's a bit of there's a ragga track in there, and there's a bit of it's just what represents me as in drum and bass. Basically a bit of jump up, bit of calm, and bit of roller.
But that's what I like. That's the old school thing.
I was going to put a pub step record in there. I've rung Darren the other day. I said, Darren, I've got a new music. It's called Pub Step. Bacon sandwich, pint of lager, we're in.
So what was I going to say? What's next for Mickey Finn production wise? You still on it?
Yeah, you know what, I actually rung Gavin Aphrodite a little while ago. I said, Gav, I don't think we've been in the studio for a good 10 stretch. And I think it's time, I kind
is he
of...
still on it?
Yeah, he is, but, I kind of... I don't know, when you kind of... Gavin was doing his thing and I wanted to do other things, and I weren't really feeling what Gavin was doing, and... I started doing some work with Elle. I just wanted to try some different things, really.
Yeah.
I like a bit of a challenge. I don't like Safety Town. I think it's a bit boring for me. I like to...
you like to push that out the boundaries.
Yeah, just try things. Some things don't work, but that's the way you find out, until you try it, if they're going to work or not.
You're going to be looking at some new Mickey Finn material?
Yeah, definitely. I've definitely got the bug again, yeah. So
Wicked. So, like, Some Beats is kicking off. It's going to happen next year again?
Yeah. Oh, mate, no doubt about that. We come out, I think I weren't even home 24 hours. How sad is that? And I'm started working on it again for next year.
Wow. Well, I've got to commend you. As somebody that was there for a few days, I've got to commend you, man, on behalf of all the DJs and everybody. We had a wicked time, man, so thanks for doing that one, man.
Yeah, no, we did as well, and it's just so good to see you, Kenny, when we all sat round and had that dinner that time. There was about 20 of us round the table.
That was big.
I mean, it's just, we've known each other a long time, and we don't get enough time to do things like that, and to have settings like seeing the sun go down, and I loved it. I couldn't get enough of it, and I can't wait for next year, to be honest. So
anyway, Mr. Finn, always an honour and a pleasure seeing you, man, and best of luck with what you're doing, man. Anybody you want to shout out before you leave, man?
No,
that's all right.
No, I'm joking. No, I said to Trinity that I would give her a shout out. She's she really come correct with some jingles for me this week. Yeah. So really, thanks a lot for that. And I better thank my girlfriend for naming Some Beats. No, it's a little ongoing joke between me and her now. I kept catching her going to people, I'll come up with a name for Some Beats. So now I just have you told them that you named Some Beats? So yeah, shout out to Terry and me kids. I love them. And thanks a lot, Groove.
No
really
problem,
enjoyed
man.
it.
Yeah, wicked. Always an honour to see you, man. Anytime you're ready, I got you, Mickey.
Thanks,
I got you,
Groove.
son. You know me. Anyway, let's get back to the show, man. It's Rider Radio, not Mickey Finn Radio. Let's get it straight. Right, Mickey Finn's on. He's going to stay with us. And Mickey, have you got any tracks with you today?
No.
Any other tracks? No. Okay, because I've wanted you to join in on the rewind tracks, man. It would have been nice. Mickey. Would have been nice. But we didn't prepare you for that one. So it's just me and Fabio going head-to-head rewind track style. Let's see who you think's going to win.
Where is he anyway? He said he was going to come down here.
Oh, come on.
Yeah,
we are talking about Fabio, right?
That is what I did say. That's what I did say to Million in a room. Frets, yeah.
Nah, Fabio ain't going anywhere. Anyway, it's rewind track time. Fabio first up.
It's Fabio, it's Grooverider going toe-to-toe with the biggest tunes. It's Battle of the Rewinds.
Right, Groove, got a big tune for you. It's from my guest from a couple of weeks ago. Sigma is a track called Silo, reminiscent of old Metalheadz kind of style. Hope you're feeling this, man. Big tune.
Fabio's come with this Cyclone, even though we run that one a few weeks ago. But it's not a problem. It's not a problem, and it's actually Fresh and Sigma, because I had Sigma hit me up the other day saying they've made it. Fresh and Sigma made a track called Latitude. That's it, and it was played on Sarah Cox's show, and they kind of just Sarah Cox just called out Fresh's name, and Sigma wasn't really that happy about it. So I'm making sure that everybody gets their due credit. Fresh and Sigma, track's called Cyclone. Right, so my offering this week is a track from DJ Sly. I said a couple of weeks ago I was chasing him down for this track. I had to threaten him in the end, and then finally when I threatened him, he actually brought it through. This track's called The Fifth Dimension. Ryder's track, rewind track for this week. Let us know what you think. Hit us up, www.bbc.co.uk/Radio 1. Head towards our Facebook page or hit our link. And I should play at the right speed, that'll help. Hit the link, tell us what you think. Who won it this week, myself or Fabio?
Battle of the Rewind Tracks. Battle of the Rewind Tracks. Battle of the Rewind Tracks.
And it lies between the pit of man's fears and the summit of his knowledge. This is the dimension of imagination.
Takes over BBC Radio 1.
Give you a slice, DJ Sly, The Fifth Dimension. My rewind track this week. Let us know what you think, as I said before, bbc.co.uk/Radio 1.
The fifth dimension. Beyond that which is
clear winner.
It is a dimension.
The standard, you know this.
Space and is timeless as infinity. It is the middle ground between light and shadow. Between
let's give Fabio a chance.
Station, and it lies
hit us up on our page, Facebook. Become a fan. Become one of our troops. Raging. Love that tune. We are fast running out of time tonight, and Lindsay and Melody are not helping me because they can't get an extra half hour. I am not impressed, ladies. Come on, do some of that blonde charm upstairs for me. Come on. Come on! Up after me is Mr. Shawnee B, and thanks for slamming me in the head with the microphone, Linz. That was real nice. I'm going to tell Sarah what you just did.
You've missed me, haven't you?
I have badly. Not that badly, don't get it twisted. It's enough, Linz. So we've got the new cat Melody in. Thanks for dropping in melodies, just filling in for Sarah. Not sure if Sarah's going to have a job when she comes back. Tired of all you lot bailing out on me. The only person here a week is me. Well, every other week.
I think we're allowed a holiday.
So why ain't I?
You only come in every 2 weeks.
And only for 3 hours, I might add. Right, let's get into some... well, should I explain what it is? Right, drum step. We're going to play some drum step. If you don't know what that is, it's a fusion between dubstep and drum and bass. And drum step's a terminology I use for it, and it seems like a lot of other people start to use it too. So did I create another genre? Maybe.
There is a fifth dimension. Beyond that, when you...
Anyway, let's get into it. It's Rider style. Gonna finish the show with some of this tonight. Getting as many as possible. You know that little squeaky vocal thing there? I thought it was running at the wrong speed. I've been panicking, man. It's the right speed, we're all okay. Some drum step business.
It's Grooverider on BBC Radio 1 Extra and BBC Radio 1. Oh yeah.
Too much bass for one station. Grooverider on BBC Radio 1 Extra and BBC Radio 1. Saturday nights on BBC One Extra and Radio 1.
So we've finally come to the conclusion that my production team can't help me get an extra half hour tonight. Shawnee B's not having any of it. So we're going to have to shut down in about 2 or 3 minutes. This is going to be the last tune of the night. It's great to be back. I've got to say many thanks to Mickey Finn coming down into the studio tonight, spending time with us. Hopefully that's going to happen again soon. Also thanks to Melody, also my girl Lindsay. Good to have her back. Don't let anybody tell you I said that. Oh, I kind of said that in front of you, didn't I? I'll be back in a fortnight. Fabio will be in the chair next week. Getting battered in the rewind tracks once again. But until then, take care and look after yourselves, and thank you for listening. Bye.
It's Grooverider on BBC Radio 1 Extra and BBC Radio 1. Oh yeah.
New York is the shit, man. New York is the bomb, man. It's the best place in the world. Anything you want is here. The best place in the world.